This is the truck I was telling you guys about. It's just for parts. See, it has no box, had a sled deck on it, but that's gone now. And there's a reason why it has these stickers on it. Unfortunately, fella passed away inside this truck, and he was in it for a while. So this is just strictly a parts truck. The interior, I stripped the interior out of it. It's pretty bad in there. You don't want to know what it was like. Just out of respect for the deceased and for lack of grossing you guys out, I'll just leave it at that. That it smells really bad in there. So of course, something like this, you could never use the cab. You can never use any of the interior parts out of it. So the truck, that's where it's at, but it's got a lot of good parts on it. So I've got aftermarket tires and rims on this one. Those are coming off. See it, the brakes are new, rotors and pads and stuff. I have no issues using that on my own stuff, so I'll be keeping that. I got some lights and that. There's one pretty good fender on it. This side, so yeah, it was a good score. I mean, I'm gonna be able to use a lot of stuff. The thing I like the most about this truck though is it's got a 5-speed. So I'm gonna be taking, oh yeah man, it still stinks. I'm gonna be taking the transmission transfer case, the clutch pedals out of this, the brake pedal and that. So I'm going to be using that. That's the only thing inside the cab that I'll be using though. And I'll be sterilizing it, washing it all up, and hopefully it doesn't smell too bad. Anyway, so I just thought I'd show you guys. I'm definitely going to be keeping a couple of these, try and peel a couple of those stickers off, put on my toolbox and stuff, because it's kind of a cool symbol. Oops, showed you the license plate. I don't know what the big deal is about that. People always hide their license plates on their videos and their Kijiji ads and stuff like that. I really don't see what the point is, because you drive around town and anybody can look at it. It's in public. So I don't see what anybody's going to do with a license plate number, unless you're doing something against the law. It's got the little rear end. I don't know if it's a limited slip. I might drop it out and keep it, but I'm not too interested in the drivetrain. I might keep some of these spring hangers. They look just like the ones off the old square body trucks. Look exactly the same, and I like using stuff like that for patterns to make spring mounts and stuff for when I do like Chev leaf spring swaps. This is a 3.9 V6 in this truck. I don't know if it runs. It's got a chip key, so the key isn't with it. Obviously it was probably on the person that was in the truck, and I'm not gonna try to pursue that. It's too bad though. I would like to see if the engine runs, just to, just out of curiosity. But I'm sure it did, because the truck's in pretty good, like the frame and stuff is in pretty good shape. It's all been undercoated, but then you get up to the rockers, the doors. So the cab, I'm just gonna, once I get the pedals and stuff out of the cab, I'm gonna suit up. I'll be wearing Tyvek, respirator, gloves, the whole bit. That's what I did when I took the seats and the carpet and stuff out of it. So I'll suit up and get the parts out of the cab that I need, and then I'm just gonna unbolt the cab, probably take the doors off and just flip it over this way onto my truck, or else onto my trailer when I get that box off the trailer. So it's got the grill for the silver truck. I'll be using that. I'm gonna be taking I got a bumper cover. This one's cracked, this one's broken on this side. Yeah, right there is some tape covering it. But I do have a bumper cover that matches my daily driver, so I'm gonna use this inside bumper piece to put on my daily driver with that bumper cover. So I got a lot of good parts off this one, and I'll just do like a time lapse of me taking it apart for you guys and show you what these things look like with the body off. And if you have any questions about any of the parts on it or anything like that, just drop me a comment in the comment section. Okay, so I just realized that I was still wearing Tyvek and a respirator when I was working on the outside of the truck, which isn't necessary. So I think my neighbors think I'm weird enough without doing that. And, they're driving by on the road, seeing me in the space suit, wondering what's going on probably. But whatever, I'm just gonna keep on plugging away in this. Just thought I'd show you guys what I ended up doing. So not going to touch any of this stuff because it's still got some biological stuff on it. I think it looks greasy, it looks oily. So this is, I didn't realize Dodge still uses the lock to take your key out for the standard vehicles, like vehicles with standard transmission. But I had to take the steering column out because I needed that big frame out of the cab. So I didn't do a bunch of time lapse because you couldn't really see me working in the cab anyway. I'll show you what I ended up doing. But anyways, your pedals, I have any gloves on right now. I don't want to touch any of this stuff. I'm going to take it down and sanitize it and wash it off really good with some, probably bleach it and all that good stuff. Anyway, I don't know if that frame comes in a truck with an automatic. So I just took the whole pedals out. The one that's kind of a pain is getting this top bolt above your clutch pedal here. There's the linkage is kind of in the way, and it's hard to get onto the socket. All those are 15 millimeter. Then you got these 4 to drop the column out, 15 millimeter. You got a few harnesses to unplug, and you take out a piece underneath the dash in here. Just gonna get this fender out of the way. This passenger side fender was toast, so as you might have noticed, I just ripped it off because it was all rusted out around. That bolt was seized up, and it was just spinning the little body clip in there. I couldn't get it out, but you can see that it wasn't worth saving anyway. That's why I just tore the flare off it. Let's see. Surprisingly, there's a little bit left. Oh, not much. So that's that place they're always rusting out. I think that's because there's an open area right around in there, and the wheel throws salt and dirt up in there. Anyway, like I've mentioned before. Okay, let's go. Oh, I must have. Oh my goodness. Need my respirator on to go in there. I must have bent something on the door because it doesn't want to open. Oh, I had the door panel off, so it's probably catching on the inside. I just wanted to check and see if it had aftermarket speakers. It does have a Kenwood deck in it. All right, let's look at this side. So what I ended up doing was just using some those oil absorbent pads, throwing those in there, some baking soda underneath that. I left a container of vinegar in here because I heard that helps with the smell. This thing still smells awful. Like I say, you couldn't use anything in this truck. All the dash pieces, all the interior trim pieces that I took out are still in there in the back. So you can see some of them there. In any case, you take the steering column, take the dash bezel out, the main bezel, take the steering column out. Like I say, a few harnesses. There's a little piece underneath the dash, little kind of a bridge piece that goes underneath there. Come on. And you take that out, it's a couple like 8 millimeters. Drop that out, then you can drop your steering column out. When you take out, you got this little like kind of a forked connection on the steering column that hooks it to the steering shaft. I'll show you when I get the cab off. Pop that out. Uh-oh, I got antifreeze. I had antifreeze dripping here. I don't want that. Oh, okay, good. So I'm just draining out the radiator so I can pop the cooling system off. All right, so you pull the steering column out, and then that big aluminum frame that holds the pedals is right there. It's pretty much a straight shot. Take it out. You can see that it's got the hole in the floor. You guys tell me in the comments if the humps are different in these trucks. Personally, I think the automatics might even have a bigger transmission tunnel. If not, I guess I'm gonna have to figure something out. I'll have to cut a piece of the floor of this thing out. I really don't want to do that, but I think if I bleach it and everything, it'll probably be fine. But it's just the thought of having to work in the cab some more. So this thing actually, some of it's not too bad. Got some surface rust. Some of the truck is pretty solid. The cab's actually pretty solid. It's too bad that it can't be used. So I'm going to be popping off all the cooling system here, the condenser core, all that stuff, since I've got the bumper and everything off. Once I get the coolant drained, I'm just going to pop that whole frame right off there. Sorry, I was zoomed in. I'll be taking all the fuses out. So a bunch of anything I can salvage off this thing. Let's see, I've got to get that steering shaft disconnected as well. So I got a bolt that I got to take off. It's holding that top yoke on. I'll probably keep the steering shaft, the U-joints, because they're always good to have around for doing different projects. Oh, I still smell this thing. The parts that I took out that I'm going to reuse in there are going to be, like I say, going down to the shop, and I'm going to be cleaning them up really good. Still got to get the cats off this thing. See, they're going to be kind of difficult. I'll probably do that when I get the cab off. So it's not going to be hard now from here on in. Get this front piece off the engine, and then I'm going to go after getting all the lines disconnected to the cab, the steering, all that off. get some of this stuff that I'm not using taken apart. That headlight's been siliconed and taken apart. It's not worth keeping. I might keep this piece though because they're always broken, it seems. Oh, smells coming out of the window. Oh, this thing in it, yeah, it smells bad. Well, anyways, I'm going to carry on here. I'll get you an update here soon. Well, this is how far I got. I've jacked the cab up. It's all unbolted. I just got to get my neighbor's skid steer over here. He'll be helping me out, lifting the cab off, and then it's going. I'm going to keep the hood. I just left it on to keep the engine under cover. The truck, there's a lot of, it's not in bad shape other than the rust underneath, and it's just the bottoms of the doors and the rockers. The one front fender was rusted too, but it's not too bad pulling the cab off these trucks. You can unbolt your master cylinder from the inside. That comes off with that pedal bracket. It all just kind of bolts through. Unhook your steering, unhook your heater lines, air conditioning, and your yeah, I said your steering already, I think. Cab mounts, your emergency brake cable, and then you got a wiring harness. 2 wiring harnesses that you got to pop off, but really it doesn't take that long, as you can tell, to dismantle this truck. I did a little bit of YouTube magic on it. I had the bumper and stuff and the fenders were unbolted, and I just pulled them off in the time lapse. I was working on the inside. This thing does have it's got a Kenwood deck that I took out of it. That's one of the only things I'm going to save from the interior. Maybe the steering column, because it's got I got to see what the difference is between the 5-speed steering column and the automatic steering column. So I kept that. I'm gonna keep some other parts from the front end, like the steering rack and stuff. It doesn't leak or anything, so it never hurts to have one of those around. But the rest of the cab is going. It, like I said, it can't be saved. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm cutting the cats off, cutting the exhaust off right now with the Sawzall. Just got that kind of almost done. But I'm gonna wait until the cab's off to get the rest of the parts. I got to take the drive shafts and stuff. I assume the engine's good. It looks like there's no reason to think that it didn't run. It looks like it doesn't leak oil or anything, so it's too bad. The truck actually has a lot of really good parts, the new brakes and stuff like that I'll be taking off it. So anyways, that's where I'm going to leave this one, and I'll get another clip of us getting the cab off it, and then it'll be off to the races with getting the transmission and the drive shafts and stuff out, get the wheels off it, and then it's going to our friendly neighborhood scrap metal recycler. Okay guys, well, that's where I'm, like I say, that's just an update on this truck, the old Death Wagon, and of course, and that's the main reason why I got this thing. But I also did want to save the 5-speed out of it, and maybe someday have a Hemi 5-speed. I don't know. It's a lot of work. I'll see how many parts I can scrounge. So I want to thank everybody for watching, thank everybody for subscribing, and like I say, there'll be more content coming up when I finish wrecking this one. I'm gonna get back on the silver one. Just about got that thing ready to go back together. I got to do some swap bumpers, so I'm going to take the bumper from this one, put it on my daily here. The grill's going to go on the daily and stuff, so I'm just going to kind of get things looking a little more respectable on the truck that I drive. But definitely getting the silver one done here real soon too, so there'll be more videos coming up on some rust repair on that. Okay, everybody, have a good one. Gloomy day here, still raining out. I'm kind of going to leave it here. I don't want to work on this thing anymore. It's not inside the shop. Have a good one.